Hey there. Today we're going to be installing a wall mount for a flat screen television. Here is the contents of the box. I've taken it out. We've got some mounting brackets here for the TV as well as a whole bunch of hardware. You won't need to use all of it. I'll talk about that soon later in the video. You'll need these tools here: a hammer, measuring tape, screwdriver, drill, and a drill bit. The size is specified in the instructions, a level, and a ratchet with a 1/2-inch socket. All right, let's get started. Most modern televisions have holes on the back of it that are threaded so that you can mount it on a wall. And here you can see this is a 10-year-old TV. It still has the holes for it. In the hardware packet, it's going to give you a couple different options for what goes into that. So you have to pick the thread pattern that works as well as the depth of the screw that you need. See here I have same thread pitch, but I have a long screw and short screws. Just want to check to see if this fits into the hole in the back of the TV. It looks like it threads great, but it looks like it's a little bit too long. Because you don't want the threads to go all the way into the television and then start ruining components in there. So here's one of the long ones. It has an option for shorter screws that have the same thread pitch. So yeah, you want to make sure it doesn't go in too deep. So for this one, we'll use the short ones. So now we'll take out the brackets that go onto the back of the television. As you can see here, there's an indicator of what the right side is and what the left side is, as well as an arrow indicating which direction is up. And you have some straps down here that'll allow it to latch onto the holding mechanism on the wall. So what we want to do is line these up with the television holes, and it gives you different options on where you can mount it. What you want to try to do is make sure that it kind of hides the brackets behind it. So if you want to pick an area that hides the most of the bracket as possible, if it doesn't quite fit on the holes, just move it to the next one, and then there you go. You have a nice little fit, and it's going to hide most of that back bracket for you and look a lot better. Then we'll take the screws that we found in the hardware package, and then we'll attach these brackets to the television. Now that we have that on, we can set the TV to the side and then work on mounting the wall bracket. So depending on what type of wall that you have, whether it be drywall or concrete, it's going to give you the different options that you need and all the hardware that you need essentially to be able to accomplish this. There is other hardware in there as well for spacers. For this instance, you see how this is flush here. Sometimes you'll have a TV that has a recessed hole for the mounting bracket, and you'll need spacers to be able to get those brackets to the surface. We didn't need to use any of these washers here or these spacers on this one, so we're really lucky. But now I wanted to show you here is the concrete mounting as well. So if you have a concrete wall, you'll need to use these wall anchors and drill a big hole into the concrete. But for here, we just have a drywall, and it's going to be a little bit simpler. We just drill a hole for these wood screws, and we mount this plate to the wall to where you can hang the TV up. So just like the brackets that mount to the TV, this bracket's going to allow you to have a whole bunch of different options and slots to where you can screw it into the wall. Here I'm marking the center point where I want the bracket to be, and you can just use a pencil into that center hole and then use a stud finder to find the nearest stud. You want to screw at least one side of the mounting bracket into a stud so that it's sturdy enough to hold the weight of the TV. And once you find the nearest ones from your center line, just mark it with a pencil to see what you're working with. And so you can still have the bracket in the same spot where you want on the wall, but still be able to work with the stud. And you can see there's one that's close to the center line, and then there's one that's far away. So at least if we can at least get the bracket into one stud, that's going to be sufficient enough for a TV that's of this smaller size. If you have a bigger wall mounting bracket, it's going to be a lot longer than this, and you can get into multiple studs. But using that center line as a reference, you can see where you've marked, and then find out where you should drill a hole, a pilot hole, if you will, to get those wood screws in. See how it didn't reach that other stud, but we still have that option for this stud on there on the right. We'll be able to anchor this pretty well, so it won't go anywhere. Before you mark where you're going to drill for these wood screws, I want to use that level to make sure that the mounting bracket is even. And I like to just put the level right on top of the bracket here, and then use that. Once it's on there, you can just use that to just draw a hole on those slots, making sure that one of the holes is going to go into a stud, and then you can then start to use this drill here to make a hole that's going to allow the wood screw to go in a lot easier afterwards. The reason why you want to drill a hole first into these holes that you're creating and not just screwing in the wood screw on its own is that it's going to be very hard to screw in if you don't have a pilot hole. See, these screws are really big. It's going to be a lot easier if you have a hole that's drilled for it. So using that 1/2-inch socket, you'll be able to then get the screw in once the pilot hole is created for all of those screws. Now what we're going to do right now is just start some of those wood screws and put it into the bracket so it holds it up on the wall, and then we'll check our work with the level to make sure that everything looks okay before we put the TV on it and tighten them down. If it's not level, you might want to adjust where the screws are, or also, pick a different slot. Notice here that, okay, that's not the greatest level on that. So if we could pick another slot here, drill another hole to make that more even. But in this case, I can just move it a little bit and it'll actually make it even. So I'll hold it up and then tighten these screws to where it's going to hold it into an even spot. Now that I've gotten those tightened down and into the wall and checking to make sure that it's going to handle a TV with my hand, it seems like it's pretty sturdy. We can now start to prep the TV to hang onto the wall. Now since this is a tilt wall mount, these hooks do adjust, and we'll want to put a little bit of an angle on it since it's a little bit higher on the wall. You can use a socket wrench. This one's a 10mm, but you can loosen these nuts right here, and that'll allow you to adjust the hook to a little bit of an angle so that when the TV is put onto the wall, it's going to kind of face downward slightly. And then what you want to do is try to get both sides of it as close as you can to match one another so that the TV mounts evenly. And how we're going to hang this on the wall is we're going to hang it from these hooks that we just angled here on the top first. See these two hooks here? They're going to hook right onto this top part of the bracket there. And then in order to get the bottom on, you pull this little tab here and it pulls back that lever to where it will then hook behind the bottom portion. And once you got it hooked, then you can check here on the side, make sure that it's on both of the hooks on both sides. And then you can just kind of loop these straps around the back, and just so you can hide them. I like to loop them here up on the top so you don't see them. And now you have mounted the TV on the wall and it's ready to go. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And this is Not a Tech Show.